We're diving deep into all the qualities that make your body unique. Beauty care, health and wellness, everything you want to know about being your best, most radiant self.
Decades of industry experience, passionate about empowering holistic health and inner beauty, mother and daughter working together to transform the world of beauty, self-care, and well-being. I'm Beata.
I'm Tash. This is the Skincare Podcast by BSE. Welcome back to the Skincare Podcast by BSE. We are so excited today because we're going to be speaking with Natasha Cidrof from SkinCeuticals. And it's so nice to see you again. We're going to be speaking all about discoloration.
Natasha, welcome back. It's great to see you again this morning. You're looking lovely as always. Natasha, before we get started into this hot subject here in the fall season, Can you do a little introduction of yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey with SkinCeuticals.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me, ladies.
Yes.
So my name is Natasha. I'm a regional sales manager at SkinCeuticals. And I actually started at L'Oreal about 9 years ago. So I've learned a lot about the beauty industry, but I feel extremely fortunate to work for a brand like SkinCeuticals that has such strong science behind the brand and real true results that we see on all of our clients. So thank you again for having me. I'm really excited to deep dive into discoloration today.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, with the fall season and October coming, actually by the time this podcast launches, it will already be in October.
Crazy.
I know, right? Mm-hmm. It's the season for discoloration and really taking off that summer
sun damage, and everything that comes with the sun and water and summer.
Just like the sun, the SPF, the UV rays and everything that goes along with it. So tell us a little bit about SkinCeuticals, their products or your products that you carry and how you can target discoloration and what you recommend.
Absolutely. So, it goes without saying that the most important thing to do every single day is wear a good sunscreen.
Absolutely.
So especially when targeting discoloration, working on that pigment, right? And making sure it doesn't come to the surface, right? So normally I recommend SPF at least 50 every single day, reapply every 2 hours. You can look for also physical ingredients, so minerals, iron oxide, titanium dioxide, that really, it's like you're wearing almost like a jacket over your skin, right? That provides the best overall protection. So SPF goes without saying every single day, even in the winter. But then to really target even more so, we have our discoloration defense that has really strong actives in it. People normally see results in about 2
I have
weeks.
one here, Natasha. I just wanted to show discoloration defense, one of our best sellers as well. Go ahead.
Good. So the actives that are in it are really, really targeting underlying pigment as well. So just really calming down that production of melanin so it doesn't come to the surface. Like it works upstream on the pigmentation pathway. So things like tranexamic acid, kojic acid, niacinamide, that's really well known too in the skincare industry now too. So it's really targeting serum. And I always say, you don't just want to put it locally, right? Like you want to work on the skin overall when you're applying a serum like discoloration defense, and really targeting it twice a day, morning and night as well.
Okay. So for example, if someone has any like discoloration spots, pigment spots, you still recommend to put it all over the face and not locally?
Such a good question. And it's a question we get often. They want to apply it just on the little like hyperpigmentation. You want to apply it everywhere because I guarantee there's something that's about to come out, right? And what I want to do with something like discoloration defense is make sure no new sunspots come to the surface of the skin.
Okay, so that's amazing. And then, so the discoloration you would apply all over the face. Any other products that you would recommend for anyone suffering with discoloration?
Definitely. So discoloration defense falls into correction, but what I also want to work on is prevention, right? So Power Duo would be something like a vitamin C. And that's when I would really go for our Floritin CF. It has 10% pure vitamin C that's really going to absorb into the skin. And we know what vitamin C does. It's great for antioxidant protection, but then it does also work on brightening the skin too. And in the Floritin, there's really an active that's called Floritin that also works on pigment. So it's a great product to also really target pigment. So my power duo would be Floritin CF, discoloration defense, and of course a sunscreen as well. And then if anyone's willing to also venture into retinol, that is something that I would also go into for pigmentation.
So I just have a quick question. Like, let's say, for example, somebody who has discoloration issues, they decide that they're going to invest in the SkinCeuticals routine. How would you place that? Like with the Floritin CF and the discoloration defense, like how would you use that? Can you use one after the other? Do you use them twice a day? Maybe you could explain like what a routine would look like.
Yes. So Floritin CF, when we talk about vitamin C, it's the first serum that you apply in the morning only on clean, dry skin. What I always say is when we work with actives, you want to make sure it's on dry skin. Okay. Yeah. So vitamin C AM only, your discoloration defense, you would layer right on top of your vitamin C. The serums are really made to be layered one on top of the other. Then you come in with your moisturizer, whatever you choose, and then your SPF, obviously.
That's in the morning.
Yes, morning. And then at night, we would do discoloration defense again. No vitamin C, right? Vitamin C is targeting environmental aggressors. So discoloration defense, your moisturizer, and then obviously I would slowly integrate a retinol in there too.
So if somebody's using a retinol, would you recommend that they use the discoloration defense and the retinol at the same time? Or is it something that you would separate?
That's a great question. You actually can layer them if you want to. Discoloration defense doesn't have any AHAs or BHAs that's really going to kind of create any kind of retinol burn with layering it. So you easily can I always say retinol first because I want the active to really get in the skin. So we can do retinol first and then do discoloration defense on top of the retinol.
Oh, really? Okay. That's interesting. I did not know that. And would you put like your moisturizer on top too, if you wanted to, if you felt that your skin needed a little more hydration?
Absolutely. And going also into fall, winter as well, especially if someone's going to start on retinol at this time of the year, I always say go in with a moisturizer on top too.
Okay, interesting. And I just wanted to quickly, before we go into more of the products, I just wanted to talk a little bit about discoloration because I feel like it's important to outline the different types of discoloration, right? Because we have even for me, and I suffer from melasma, so sometimes I get so overwhelmed and so confused with our hyperpigmentation's products going to target melasma because it is a little bit different, right? And then
there's more hormonally driven, right? Melasma is more hormonal. Yes. Yeah. So if you can touch on the differences, I guess, and if your products will also treat against all different types of discolorations, right?
Yes. So such a great question. Discoloration defense treats all forms of hyperpigmentation. But how we normally categorize them is talking about sun damage. So sunspots, form of hyperpigmentation. Second would be post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation.
Oh, after any kind of acne or I guess even scarring and stuff like that. If anybody has any type of surgery and stuff like that as well, right?
Yeah,
definitely. So it creates extra melanin, right? Absolutely. So it's that inflammation. So that would be the second type. Your third type would be your melasma, which is the most difficult to treat because, as you ladies said, it's hormonal. Yeah. So it's a really difficult type of hyperpigmentation to treat. But what's so great about discoloration defense, the clinicals are testing on all forms of hyperpigmentation.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, interesting. Because I suffer from melasma, and I noticed I was not on birth control for 4 years, and I felt like it had gone away, or maybe I just didn't notice it as much. And then I started to go on birth control, I guess, early this year. And I've noticed, and I'm using products, my skin routine is targeted for pigmentation. And I'm not seeing that it's going away at all. It's kind of still there, and I guess pretty prominent, no?
Well, it's on your forehead, and
then
so
like
we see
here,
like, and a little bit also, you've had a little bit on,
but not so much anymore.
No, but mostly on your cheeks and your forehead for sure.
Yeah. And I just noticed like it's such a hard thing to get rid of. And I noticed that since I'm on birth control, it's gotten, I guess, worse. And I guess that is a cause of like more melasma production.
It is. I mean, obviously it's really hard when someone's on medication, right? It's really, really hard to work on anything that's hormonal when someone's on a certain type of medication, including birth control.
Yeah.
But to me, I would just stick to the routine. Like it's the best thing that you could do. I mean, your skin's glowing right now. Your skin looks beautiful, but keep on targeting your discoloration. I would also come in with a retinol. I'm sure you have a really nice routine right now, but keep on targeting it, because what discoloration does, it will work on the surface level pigment, but it's going to prevent any new pigment coming to the surface of this.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, right. That's so important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I just want to get that, because I know that it's like, and I guess for me, I wanted to clarify a little bit, because I find it's just extremely overwhelming. And like, I can only imagine for people who maybe don't have as much knowledge about it versus I have a lot of knowledge. I have so much access to product and to education and to like you guys trainers and everything. So I just wanted to clear that up, because it's a lot.
Is there any contraindication or anything that people should know about when they're targeting, like using vitamin C's or using something like a discoloration defense or retinols for that matter? Is it really globally good for anybody to use, or?
Super good question. So Floritin CF, no contraindication. I mean, anyone can use Floritin CF, anyone can use discoloration defense, and they are products that can be used all year round as well.
Okay.
However, for retinol, it has to be avoided for anyone that's pregnant or breastfeeding normally.
Okay. That's good to know.
So retinol, we have to be careful, but however, we can still use Floritin. We can still use discoloration defense, right?
Okay.
Even while pregnant. And we're about to launch a new product that is actually safe.
I know. We're so excited and we don't have it yet. I'm so I wish we would have it in our hands. I think it shipped yesterday.
Yes.
Because I got a notification in my emails this morning.
I love new
That's
products.
leading us right into the next subject. And, we're really feeling very privileged to be able to talk to you just before this incredible launch of the Phyto A Brightening Treatment. So tell us about it. Tell us everything. We're just like beyond about it.
Oh, I'm so excited too. I think it's definitely going to be the biggest launch that we've had in a long time.
Really?
So yes, definitely. So Phyto A Plus, it still remains in the Phyto family at SkinCeuticals, but it's really the only corrective moisturizer that we have. So it really is going to target so many different things with really strong actives. So we have alpha-arbutin in it, which is actually a hydroquinone derivative. Okay. Yeah. But it's something that's proven safe for women that are pregnant or breastfeeding. Okay. So it really is like, we're talking about discoloration defense, but you want something to target pigment even more. We'd layer with Phyto A Plus. Okay.
So you're really taking it up a notch, right? You're taking it up a notch.
So there's alpha-arbutin, there's azelaic acid. This is the
wonderful, because that's so great for that as well. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's really well known, even in high percentages, prescribed to treat rosacea and acne.
Right, so which is also, sorry to interrupt you, but I think it's so important that people understand when you suffer from hyperpigmentation, discoloration, all of that family, you really want to keep the skin, the epidermis, the dermis very calm, right? You want to desensitize it. So azelaic acid will really help to calm the skin down, because when the skin is not inflamed, then you have less pigment.
Yes, you couldn't have said it better. Really working on inflammation is super important in targeting pigment, 100%. So it's a great active for that, but it's really also great for excess sebum too.
Oh, wonderful. So I did not know that.
Excess sebum. Yeah. And the last one that we have is our Phyto mix that we have in all the Phyto family, which is great again for inflammation and redness. So when we talk about Phyto A Plus, even the texture is really unique. It's the first texture that we have like this in the family at SkinCeuticals.
I can't wait.
It's really lightweight. It's like a gel-like texture. It's beautiful.
That's really exciting.
So it's actually like a moisturizer, you said?
Yes.
So
it's a moisturizer.
Okay. But a gel-like texture. So is it hydrating, very hydrating, or?
It's lightweight. So obviously someone that needs a bit of extra hydration,
go into
I would probably,
another. Yeah,
I would go with something else on top, which is no problem. But someone that has more mixed skin, oily skin, they're going to love this texture on its own, truly.
Okay, that's really great. And I love that you said that it's also for pregnant women, because like we just mentioned before, like melasma is huge for women who are pregnant because of the hormones. So, and it's so annoying, I'm sure, for so many women who can't use any products, especially because they're pregnant. So they can't target, they just have to wait it out. I mean, it's not the worst of the worst that you are built like growing
Making
a baby.
So it's like at the end of the day, it's, you know, it's worth it. But to have a product that's going to help prevent and also target pigmentation during pregnancy, I think is like amazing. And that's so cool.
You couldn't have said it better, because often when we meet women that are pregnant, they're often struggling with melasma, and there are so few things that we can recommend them because we have to avoid our retinols. We have to avoid strong actives. So for me, this is like powerhouse. Of course, anyone that's not pregnant either, but it's safe for pregnant women.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm really happy for that.
Yeah.
Good.
So Natasha, you touched a little bit before on sunscreen, right? So that leads me into my next question, is really the recommendations that you have for treating pigment specifically, and sunscreen. Can you like elaborate a little bit more on why you feel that, or why that is so important?
It's the most important thing in any routine, no matter what I'm targeting. But for me, pigment, it's by far the most important. Okay. And we're often talking about fall. This is the best time to really work on any unwanted pigment that may have come to the surface in the summer months. But to really protect the skin from UVA and UVB rays, okay, that are both super strong. And we both want to be protecting against both types of rays, right? One that's responsible for aging of the skin and one that's responsible for the burning of the skin. And when we talk about our sunscreens, we talk about the best protection, which is that physical protection, that like jacket that I talked about. So anyone struggling melasma, any sort of discoloration, it's sunscreen in even every 2 hours, honestly. Reapplying it with like a little beauty blender even throughout the day. We have our Physical Fusion that's tinted, that also has the added benefit of iron oxide. So which is that blue light protection. So I'll often meet people that I go, I don't need to wear a sunscreen. You know, I work from home. And I go, we have to talk about blue light, right? That radiates from our laptops, from our phones every single day. So our Physical Fusion also has the iron oxide that protects against blue light too.
Okay. And so you have 3 sunscreens, or do you have 4 sunscreens?
So we have the Sheer Physical, which is the clear one. We say sheer equals clear. There's the Physical Fusion, which is our tinted one. And then
it's the top seller, I think, for us. That one, we just fly through that one.
It's beautiful. It's like wearing a second skin, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say the texture of it is really amazing, because it's like
more liquidy, almost
like a fluid, and it kind of leaves a really nice, like glowing complexion afterwards. I love the texture. I think it's amazing. It feels hydrating as well, which I think is really cool. And then, you have one last SPF.
There's one for the eyes also, right?
Yeah, the physical matte.
Yeah. And then there's the Physical Eye that really provides global eye protection. The Physical Matte is the mousse like one. So I always like to say it almost works like a foundation base. Like it creates a beautiful canvas for makeup, or for anyone with really oily or mixed, just that like T-zone that gets a bit oily.
Like
it provides
a primer?
Great oil control. It works great as a primer too, the Physical
Wonderful.
Matte.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, really cool.
I've never tried that one personally. I'd love to be able to try that. But I do like me, for my skin, I'm always more into that, dewy hydration. So I love the Physical Fusion. That one for me is just,
I know, it leaves a really nice glow to the skin.
You get glowy, and it also, I find I can put my makeup, because I do use a foundation on top of it, and there's no problem at all for me to apply on top of it. So it's nice, because I find the products to be super nourishing, hydrating, but at the same time, not too much that you can't apply makeup on top, because that sometimes is a concern for people as well, right?
I couldn't agree more. And also often a concern that I hear is, I don't like the feeling of sunscreen.
I know.
It's heavy, it's greasy. And then I go, wait until you try Physical Fusion.
Mm-hmm.
You will love it. It's that dewiness, right? It just feels so beautiful on the skin. Great under makeup or even just alone too. People looking for a little bit of like a light coverage, it works great for that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what's something that you would tell like your clients or customers to look for when shopping for a sunscreen? Like what's the most important thing?
So I always say look for actives like iron oxide, anything that's titanium dioxide. So 100% mineral filters.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's super important. But overall, find a sunscreen that you love. Like if you love Physical Fusion and you're going to wear it every single day, that's what makes me happy, right?
Yeah.
Just finding a sunscreen that you really love, but ideally looking for things like iron oxide, titanium dioxide.
Mm-hmm.
A plus would be as well the iron oxide as well. So it gives that blue light protection, right?
Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
What people forget about today, but that's a new thing that we're, every single day getting to, our screens, our iPads, our computers. Yes. We're more on screens than we ever were in the past, right? Especially after the pandemic or during the pandemic. I mean, people weren't even meeting in person. Everything was done through computers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, and also I think we might have touched on this before, but to wear sunscreen inside, not just for the computers, but also because the sunlight comes through the windows and it's the UVA rays that penetrate through windows, right? So that's even if it's snowing or raining and, or if it's sunny and you're inside, like
you have to wear your
just
sunscreen.
Wear your SPF, make it a routine.
I agree. And I even, met someone recently that said, I have pigment on this side of my face, the window, right? As she's driving, the UVA rays that you just talked about, they go right through the window, and she had all this pigment coming to the surface of her skin. I didn't realize I had to wear a sunscreen every day. So just educating in that sense that the UVA rays still go through windows, right?
They do. So and there's that very famous, Natasha, I don't know if you've ever seen that, but there's that very famous picture of this truck driver.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's gone viral several times, if that's even possible, but it just is an indication, like when you're sitting in a car or a truck or whatever you do, or you're wherever you work in your home or in your office, that's coming through the windows. Like you got to protect for that. Yeah. We touched a little bit on retinols before, but I think that it would be interesting to understand a little bit more about why retinol for pigment or why retinol for discoloration. And I know you have a 0.3, 0.5, and 1% retinol. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about why retinols are so recommended for discoloration? Just a little more in detail.
So retinol is one of the ingredients that really works at the dermis level of the skin.
Mm-hmm.
So it works on cell renewal. So it's not an exfoliating agent. People often say retinol.
I think it is, right?
Yeah. Just because people often see a little bit of peeling, a little bit of redness, but it doesn't work, let's say, as a chemical exfoliator would. We talk about AHAs or BHAs. It really works on cell renewal. So to me, bringing healthy new cells to the surface of the skin is key using retinol. And for me, retinol treats a variety of concerns, including discoloration. Everyone can benefit from using a retinol. The question is, again, I always say integrate it gradually, integrate it slowly. Our retinols at SkinCeuticals, they are medical grade, okay? They really work into the dermis level of the skin. They are really strong actives. So start slowly, integrate it with a triple lipid maybe. Start with a 0.3. Do it once a week at night only. We know retinol does cause photosensitivities. So at night only, sunscreen every single day when using a retinol. And you watch your skin transform truly using a retinol. Like you feel like you have brand new skin coming to the surface of the skin. But again, unfortunately, people often react. So I say always start slowly with your retinol.
We always recommend the same thing. We always say start slowly, once a week, see how your skin does in the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then gradually increase. We call that like the acclimation period. And you're so right there, because sometimes people they get to the point where they're so desperate and they're like, okay, I've got to do something with my skin and it's got to be right now. I'm the perfect example of that because I've done that many times. I started using a 1% retinol once, morning and evening. And I can't even tell you after a couple of days how my skin looked, my neck. It's just do that.
Retinol burns.
Yeah. They're not dangerous, but they're very uncomfortable. So It's like anything in life. If you want to get to a final destination or to your destination, you need to kind of dance with it and move it slowly and get there slowly. And you will get the results, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting. Let's see what else that we can, okay. This is something we always ask everybody. It's one of our famous closing questions as we get to the end of this podcast, but can you share one of your favorite SkinCeuticals products and tell us why?
So it's by far the triple lipid restore. It is a beautiful corrective moisturizer that contains 3 different lipids. And they're actually the same lipids that we find in the barrier of our skin. So ceramides, cholesterol, and fatty acids. So it's your barrier restorative cream. And normally when I talk about a barrier that's been destroyed, we're talking about either it's related to age, it's related to temperature, right? Or it's related to medication that someone's taking, or retinol that they're starting as well. So for me, because I use so many actives on my skin, I need something as comfortable as the triple lipid. And I think it's the only moisturizer I've ever used that is rich, but never feels greasy. It will never feel greasy. It's like putting butter on my face, and I have this comfort level in my skin, but it never, ever feels greasy. It has changed my life. And I think everyone I get triple lipid onto, they're like, oh my goodness, I have never tried anything like this. So I can say with confidence, it's my favorite product by far.
Oh my God, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it is. I have to tell you, I agree with you 100%, because I will say from all creams that I've tried on the market, and I've been doing this for well over 30 years, and also using product on my skin since I'm a teenager. I started very young. I have to say it's in one of my top favorite products as well. The triple lipid restore is like nothing. Have you tried it before, Tash?
You know what? I think that last time we actually had a conversation, months ago, and I was like, oh, I really need to try it. I still haven't tried it. I'm ashamed to say I still haven't tried it.
Oh my gosh. You should be ashamed.
I know. No, I am. I talk about it with customers and I'm like, oh my God, it's the holy grail. It's like I might have tried one night with Alexa. I think my best friend was using it, and I might have, when I slept over or something, tried it, but to try it consistently, I don't have the best opinion, but I always tell everyone it's the holy grail because I know you're obsessed with it. And
I'm
obviously
obsessed.
I hear you, Natasha, talk about how amazing it is. Anyone who's tried it, anyone who uses it says it's the best.
It's one of our top sellers as well in the range. Obviously, the vitamin C's from SkinCeuticals, they fly, but Triple Lipid Restore is one of those products that's like a staple in many, many Canadians' homes. But I just wanted to ask you something. So I love it because I love the nourishment from it. But what about somebody who has like a combination skin with a little bit of an oilier, or acne prone skin? Would you also recommend it for somebody that suffers from that?
That is such a great question. And anyone that's acne prone or with mixed skin is so afraid of the triple lipid.
Yeah.
But it is 100% okay for anyone that's acne prone, mixed skin, especially someone that's acne prone, starting on a retinol, use your triple lipid. It's the same lipids that we find naturally in the barrier of our skin. So we're not adding extra oils to the skin. So triple lipid is safe for anybody to use versus other moisturizers that we have in the portfolio do have oils. And those ones I say avoid for acne, anyone that's acne prone, but triple lipid we can use for any single skin type. And it could just be mixing it with a retinol, layering with a retinol too, right? That's like my power duo normally for retinol, or anyone using a lot of actives that needs that extra moisture.
Mm-hmm. So is it basically like if someone has acne skin and they're using a retinol, is it you recommend the triple lipid because it's going to help protect the barrier and give that extra nourishment? Is that the main reason why? Just to for someone listening who does have really oily or acneic skin, they're like, well, I'm still a little bit scared. It's to really protect the barrier.
Absolutely. And especially if they're using, again, strong actives, let's say they're going in with retinol and blemish and age, and they feel like they're developing flaking to the products, right? Which often happens. Triple lipid is just that blanket on the skin. So it's that barrier restore.
You put it on, you're like, oh,
it feels like
it just feels so wonderful. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, when you're targeting issues on the skin, like, for example, our conversation today is around discoloration, you are going in and if you're like you said, working with retinols, discoloration defense, Fortin, CF, you're working the pigment from different levels. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that you're giving the skin what it needs, because if you don't, then you can run into inflammation and issues, and then you're exacerbating the issues. So you really want to make sure that you're balancing your routine really well so that you're giving the skin what it needs so that it doesn't make the issue worse.
You don't want more issues while trying to treat an issue, right? Mm-hmm. Like you want to avoid that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, they get confused with it, when they have an issue, if it's acne, discoloration, or even aging for that matter, they go in and they hammer it, right? And then they forget that this unbalancing the skin barrier or unbalancing is really can cause a lot more issues, and you don't get to your end game. You won't see the results the same way. I find that's what I've noticed in our clinic, and also.
Yeah. You couldn't have said it better, honestly, because often people think that they need to strip their skin.
Yeah.
Like all this exfoliation to remove extra pigment or whatever it might be, they're ruining their skin barrier.
Yeah, which makes it worse.
Exactly. Yeah.
It makes it worse. Yeah. So calm approach, very strategic approach with your skin. It doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be overwhelming. And, we always say when you're putting your products on in the morning and the evening, I don't know about you, Natasha, but I love it.
You have to, embrace the moment that you're taking care of yourself for those 5 to 10 minutes. Just embrace it.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's really wonderful. So somebody suffering from discoloration, are there any masks that you would recommend that they use? Like obviously exfoliation once to twice a week with your micro exfoliant, but would you recommend any specific mask?
I think it depends on the hydration level of the skin, the sensitivity of the skin too. For a more sensitive skin type, I would probably do Phyto mask.
Okay.
For anyone that just maybe has a little bit more oil production, I would go with a clay mask. And then anyone with really dehydrated skin, I would go with the hydrating B5 mask.
Oh, I've used that. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I haven't tried that one. I really should try that.
I love it. It's great. And so why don't you also share with us one of your best skincare tips?
Yes, absolutely.
You probably have a whole bunch.
Just one.
What is the hot?
It's like impossible to choose one.
Yeah.
It is impossible to choose one, but one always really sticks out to me because it's a question that I often get asked about how to apply products. And I touched a bit on it before, but when you're talking about actives, so vitamin C, retinol, AHA, BHAs, SPF, apply them on dry skin. Always on dry skin, okay? To avoid irritation, to make sure the pH level of the skin is also balanced, okay? So my actives are on dry skin. However, when I go in with my hyaluronic acids, my glycerin, my triple lipid, so all my humectants, I want to apply them on damp skin, okay? So even with damp fingers, damp skin, maybe I'll even add a little bit of moisture with the Phyto mist before applying my triple lipid. It really draws extra moisture into the skin. And when people hear this tip from me, it makes such a big difference with hydration levels of the skin, and you even use less product. Like applying triple lipid, let's say on a bit of a damper skin, it really just penetrates so beautifully into the skin and leaves the skin just feeling plump and dewy. So that's my hot tip for today.
I think that's a great tip.
That's a great tip.
For people who do apply their actives on damp skin, maybe they're wasting product. So it's important, wasting product, but maybe they're not getting the best benefit out of that product. And same for applying your HAs and everything, your hyaluronic acid on damp skin, because then you're getting the best of the product. And I like that you mentioned the Phyto Active Mist, because I use that mist and I'm obsessed. It's actually so good. I think we got it as a test or something for the spa, or I don't know.
And you swiped it.
I took it. It's I use it every day. I love it. I find it leaves my skin glowy and refreshing.
Yes.
And I think it's amazing.
Oh, I know. It's so great.
So your favorite product is the Phyto Mist so far, and my favorite product is this triple lipid.
Yeah, you guys, I need to get on it. Like I clearly am missing out.
You are missing out.
Yeah,
You are.
What the heck?
Natasha, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. It's really been a pleasure for us. We're excited to have you. We hope you'll come back.
Yes.
We'd love to have some other discussions with you, on other subjects in the future.
Yeah, you're so knowledgeable about everything in SkinCeuticals and about ingredients. So we definitely want to, touch on different topics for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me, ladies. It's always such a pleasure to chat with you.
Yes. And just before you go, where can people find you on social? Give us a little bit of your IG handles just so, we can share you around.
Sure. So basically everything related to SkinCeuticals, we have one big global page, and that's at SkinCeuticals. Okay. So we have tons of product informations on there. We talk about our new launches, actives. It's a really great page to follow. And then following will be Phyto A Plus. That'll be available next week too. So for anyone looking for those actives, that texture, a beautiful product to integrate too.
Amazing.
We can't wait to try it.
I know. I'm probably going to swipe it again.
No.
I love to swipe products. I'm really good at it.
She's been doing that her whole life, by the way.
That's why I'm so good. What is it called? Kleptomaniac?
Kleptomaniac.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you, ladies.
Have a great day.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Skincare Podcast. It would mean so much to us if you could subscribe to our podcast and rate and review. Follow our new journey on Instagram at Skincare Podcast to be the first to know when our episodes are dropping and more. This podcast is produced by Northweld Media. We look forward to seeing you next Wednesday.